WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. When disaster strikes, everyone in a family is impacted, including children. Schools in Columbus are doing what they can to help students affected by February's tornado transition back into the classroom. Riley Livingston talks to educators at one local elementary school. She joins us now live. Riley.
Andrea, I'm here at Stokes-Beard Elementary School, where earlier today classes let out for spring break. Over the past 2 weeks, the classroom has been the only constant for some of these students. For students at Stokes-Beard Elementary in Columbus, the rhythm of the school year continues. Homework is still being given and tests are still taking place. But for a few students, it's the only thing that remains the same.
The home environment that they are used to having is no longer stable. So they've got to have some stabilization. They've got to be in an environment where they know that they are loved, that they are cared for. We want them to feel as normal as possible here at school. And children, our children here are very caring, very loving. They're very supportive.
Number one things that our parents are telling us is we don't want our students to worry. They want to be the ones to fix the problem. They want their students to come back to school, to just have a school environment and let the parents shoulder that burden of the hardship.
20 families were impacted by the tornado that tore through Columbus, and 7 Stokes-Beard students were left without a place to call home. Now those kids are staying with relatives while their parents get back on their feet. And the school is doing what they can to help out.
That's our transportation system. They have worked hand in hand with me. They just needed me to tell them where the students were, and they were going to make sure the buses went to where the children were to make sure they were picked up and brought to school.
Many of the kids lost everything during the storm, including the things they need to be successful in the classroom.
We've had personal citizens to stop by and say, what do you need? What can we help with? But our students here at school, we have abundance of supplies.
Some students had to take a quick break from learning after the storm, but now that they are back in class, teachers and staff are there to support them.
They've transitioned fine because we're a family here. You know, when one is hurt, we all hurt. So, and that's a part of our school, our culture and our climate.
Gloria Gunter says they're going to be keeping an eye on the students that were impacted by the storm. They're looking for signs of behavioral changes, including sleepiness, a lack of concentration, and a not wanting to participate in the classroom. They're wanting to step in and help out those students if they are struggling. Reporting live in Columbus, Riley Livingston, WCBI News.
Well, with the threat of severe weather in the forecast again this coming weekend, Columbus Lowndes Emergency Management wants to remind people of area storm shelters that are open to the community. These spaces have built-in tornado shelters that school or county officials or emergency management will open up when storms threaten the area. Those areas are New Hope High School, Lowndes County Career Tech Center, and the Caledonia Elementary School. Time to get a first look at our forecast. We'll turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson, who is keeping an eye on possible severe weather. Keith.
Andrea, we just need a break around here. It seems like every weekend of late has had a chance for some storms. Right now, just some wet weather here in downtown Tupelo. That's our Alpha Insurance camera network. You can see some of these scattered showers around. Also a chance for a thunder shower, too, later on tonight. And at least that's the near-term forecast. No major problems. We got 60s to around 70 right now. If you're heading out this evening, just keep the umbrella on standby. A lot of 60s here. Worst case scenario tonight, probably down to around 60 or so. But tomorrow, the severe weather threat is with us from the late morning into the evening. All modes still possible here. A warm and breezy type day for us. More on that threat in just a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thanks a lot. The online food delivery market is growing rapidly. Estimates show that half of all diners in the nation have used a food delivery service in the past 3 months. WCBI's Allie Martin shows us how a national company and a local firm are staking their claims here in Northeast Mississippi.
It's been a busy week for drivers with Waiter, the newest food delivery service for Tupelo.
Thank you. Have a great day. You too.
Waiter started in Lake Charles, Louisiana in 2015 and is now in more than 20 states. They expect to hire 100 drivers for the Tupelo market, and they currently have partnerships with more than 40 area restaurants.
It's going really great. We're increasing daily. Everyone loves us here. We love Tupelo, and we're great to be here.
Waiter is an app-based service with a $5 delivery fee. The company has been expanding rapidly and targets small to medium-sized markets. Morzy believes Tupelo is a great fit for Waiter.
And we decided to come over here and spread the Waiter love to Tupelo, Mississippi. And we have all kinds of different features on our app.
Tupelo To Go is another business that had humble beginnings. The Tupelo-based food delivery service began more than 3 years ago when two business partners realized that people wanted food from local restaurants but didn't necessarily want to dine out. It was all about convenience and meeting an unmet need in the market.
I've lived in Tupelo my entire life, and I always wanted some kind of delivery. I worked in the medical field, so we just didn't have a very long lunch.
Thank you for calling Tupelo To Go. This is Andy. How may I help you?
Tupelo To Go has seen swift growth. They now operate out of a suite of offices on Spring Street with as many as 4 dispatchers during peak times. Customers can also use an app to order, and Tupelo To Go partners with more than 50 restaurants. Payne believes the company can not only survive, but thrive with a loyal and growing customer base.
The local support has been, really good to us since day one. It's just been incredible. So we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing, loving what we do, and we don't plan on going anywhere.
You have a good day.
Both Waiter and Tupelo To Go realize the demand has been around long before the technology, and both believe there are plenty of hungry customers willing to use their services. Allie Martin, WCBI News.
Both Waiter and Tupelo To Go have free apps for download to smartphones. Coming up, some North Mississippi restaurants are getting national recognition. We find out more about the honors when we come back. Welcome back. An after-school program that helps young men and women develop character and stay fit gets a financial boost. Dick's Sporting Goods in Tupelo presented a check for $1,000 to Tupelo's Police Athletic Club. The donation will help PAL provide activities like basketball, boxing, and other sports for hundreds of youngsters. The Police Athletic League also helps strengthen relationships between police and young people.
You'll see some of these kids actually grow up and become policemen in the future. So that interaction has sparked an interest in law enforcement. They see the ins and outs that police officers are involved in, and we do have a lot of officers that get out here and play ball with the kids and everything. So we have a lot of great opportunities to interact with these kids.
Tupelo's Police Athletic League serves up to 1,000 youth there in Tupelo. The managers of 2 local Wendy's restaurants get a big honor and a big surprise from corporate office. LaToya Ware from the Aberdeen location and Monique Stallings are in West Point are among the top 200 general managers recognized for 2018. They were surprised during a special ceremony at the West Point store this morning. The 2 were selected based on their leadership, performance, and dedication. They represent the top 3% of the Wendy's system, which is made up of more than 6,000 restaurants.
I'm grateful, and I'm just thankful because it just shows me that the hard work that myself as well as my assistant managers and my employee has put in with these past years, it has really paid off.
My customers are my top priority, so I do everything I can to go over and beyond to make sure that everybody that enters the doors, are satisfied. So it means a great deal to me that the work that I've done is not in vain.
Ware and Stallings will join other honorees in Ohio, where the Wendy's company will then name the top 10 general managers.
Lows tonight down into the low 60s, some upper 50s too, but around 60, much warmer than the last couple of nights, and there will be some showers around, maybe a storm. Your severe weather forecast for tomorrow is coming up next. Stay tuned.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
A live view at Durham's Pharmacy in West Alabama. In Vernon, we've had some wet weather out there today, overcast conditions, and you can see some of these showers here with our live Doppler radar. Some steadier rain in some of this, but generally speaking, fairly light in the big picture. No lightning in our area, but that could be changing over the next 24 hours as that big system gets organized back to the west. We actually have some developing rain showers and storms to our northeast right now. We'll watch more activity to blossom in Texas and Oklahoma tonight and then shift our way as you get into tomorrow. So for your Saturday, from late morning through the evening, some wind gusts over 60 certainly possible. There may be some tornadoes somewhere in the region. Can't exclude that threat here. And also a chance for some hail. Heavy rain, maybe a ½ inch to 2 inches. We don't need any rain, and any rain that we get could aggravate those flooding issues we've had. So can't rule that out. Maybe some urban and some localized flash flooding. For this evening, though, we do have some showers on an isolated basis or scattered basis. A lot of that will tend to lift back to the north as we go throughout the course of the night. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, overcast, maybe some showers, but overall a quiet start to our Saturday. By the late morning, look at this, there'll be a wave of storms that comes on in. This first batch here may be sub-severe, but there could be a lot of lightning in this and some gusty wind. That will get out of here by early afternoon, and then after that, there's the chance for some additional storms, and if those were to develop, those would have a better chance for that tornado threat if we were going to see it, most likely in the afternoon or early evening. Not guaranteed, though. And then they'll start to line on up with this cold front moving on through and then shift to our southeast by midnight right here. So by midnight tomorrow, we should be in good shape. I want to show you the lightning potential, though. Tomorrow morning, with that first batch, boy, there could be a lot of lightning in that. And then whatever develops after that could also produce some thunder and lightning, maybe a little bit of hail, too. So a dynamic weather system coming our way. Just stay weather aware. Have a way to get some watches and warnings, multiple ways of getting watches and warning information if they are issued tomorrow. We are back into the 70s. Notice those winds, though, from the south and southwest. 10 to 25 with some higher gusts. It is going to be a warm, breezy, humid Saturday for us with highs well into the 70s, well above the average. And speaking of the region, notice how we are going to be in the 70s, a shot at some 80s down to the south. Those winds start to crank on up later tonight. And we're looking at sustained wind 10 to 25, maybe gusting over 30 miles per hour. That's outside of any strong storm that could develop. So that's what we're looking at for our Saturday. We have that time change tomorrow night, so we will shift some daylight into the evening starting Sunday. Sunday's looking like a decent day, highs around 70. 60s Monday and Tuesday, some showers possible, but a better chance for more heavy rain, maybe some more severe weather, Andrea, by Wednesday or Thursday of next week.
The Cason Water District has lifted a boil water notice for many of its customers, those on New Road, Gilmore Lane, and Sargent Lane, as well as those on Old Highway 6 between Blake Drive and Shoaf Creek. And customers in Big B Cutoff Road between Highway 6 and New Road are no longer under that boil water notice. Well, Mississippi State finally hits the hardwood. The Bulldogs face off against the Lady Vols this afternoon. We've got highlights in a live report from South Carolina next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
The #1 seeded Bulldogs matching up against the 8 seeded Lady Vols. And Mississippi State looking to make it back to the SEC championship for the 4th consecutive year. Let's get to the highlights. The regular season SEC champs showing off the trophy, Big T, and the Bulldogs ready to roll inside the well. Unreal Howard goes baseline, the sweet reverse layup for 2. And the Dogs are on a 6 unanswered run. Lady Vols would scorch the net from deep in the first. Mimi Jackson from the Land of Plenty shoots 5 for 8. Tennessee, that is, from deep, lead MSU by 6 after 1. MSU knocks the rust off. Espinoza Hunter takes the dribble, handoff right to the rack, and caps off an 8-2 run. Offense would stay hot throughout the quarter. Off the inbounds, Bramber Scott splits the defense and gets the shot to go. Now Jazz Holmes out in transition, finds Scott on the wing for the 3-point shot at the buzzer. The Bulldogs leading by 12 at the break. Business as usual from there. Jordan Danbury with the spin cycle finish in the lane. The lead would balloon even more. Danbury with the feed inside. The Big T. McCowan finishing with yet another double-double, 17 points and 13 rebounds. And just to wrap things up, one of Tennessee's 26 turnovers. Danbury capitalizing, goes coast to coast through the contact and the finish. Mississippi State cruises past Tennessee, 83-68 is going to be your final. Tied for the most points scored in the SEC tournament in Hail State Hoops history. WCBI Sports' Tom Ebel is live from Greenville with more. Hey, Tom.
Courtney, you mentioned it in the highlights, 26 turnovers. That's your key as to why Mississippi State is off to the semifinals in the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament. was a bit of a sluggish start for the Bulldogs in the first until Vic Schaefer turned Jazz Holmes and Jordan Danbury loose on Tennessee. The Bulldogs scoring 30 points off those 26 turnovers. That's your key to the ball game right there. If you take a look back at when Mississippi State and Tennessee played in Starkville, uber talented Tennessee guard Evina Westbrook did not play due to an injury. She had a great game against LSU on Thursday. One of the big keys for the Bulldogs, especially for Jazz Holmes, was to make sure Westbrook didn't have an encore performance.
That's who they look for to start their offense and make big plays. And she had a good game yesterday. So coach challenged me to step up and be that person to defend, and that's what I did.
When she goes, we go, and I definitely believe in that. And I feel like just her energy and her motor on the ball, like her defense is just awesome, and it helps us, it gets us energetic, and we're going to have her back.
That's our plan every game, to make the point guard uncomfortable. That's their job, is to run their offense, and if the point guard is uncomfortable, then it's no offense.
It's seeing them play hard on the ball, makes me play hard behind them. And so they're getting, stops up top, and so it just makes me want to play harder behind them.
Jazz Holmes played out of her mind. She even almost took out the press row. She jumped over the row, going for a loose ball that ending up in a Bulldogs possession. But Holmes had a great game. The Bulldogs will advance, taking on Missouri. A bit of a revenge match for the Bulldogs after Missouri was the only team to defeat the Bulldogs in the regular season during SEC play. So that game tips off at 4 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. Vic Schaefer said another key to the game, along with Jazz Holmes and Jordan Danbury's ball pressure, taking naps. Mississippi State just take naps all the time. He called his team, quote, the all-nap team. We'll have much more coming up at 10 here from Greenville, but reporting here inside Bon Secure Wellness Arena, Tom Ebel for WCBI Sports. Courtney, back to you.
Thank you, Tom. Well, some more championship action. After pushing past Paul Quinn in the semifinals, the MUW Owls are headed to the USCAA Championship. Kiana Jones led the way for the Owls in the semis with her 10th double-double of the season. The W beating out Paul Quinn 73-59. Tomorrow, the Owls will play for its first USCAA championship title. The opponent of that game has not yet been decided. Action finishing up in Jackson earlier today. Ingomar and Bay Springs competing for the 2A boys state title. Ingomar falls to Bay Springs 56-51. The Falcons finish the season with a 34-5 record. That's it for sports. Your last look is coming up next. Stick with us.
WCBI sports coverage of the SEC basketball tournament is brought to you by Wade Incorporated. Bank First, a better way to bank. And visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
Watching out for the potential for strong storms tomorrow, heavy rain, lightning, gusty winds, and again, there's still a tornado threat on Saturday, so we'll keep you updated. We'll monitor things all day tomorrow. Sunday should be quiet, and then as we get into the next week, still a risk for more heavy weather by Wednesday and Thursday.
I'm just glad those lows are not the highs.
We've got none of the sub-freezing stuff.
Well, that's good. All right. That is the news at 6. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening.